Welcome to Rocket Talk Mini, our bonus episodes for the Rocket Talk podcast. This is our first mini episode. Like I am with the regular podcast, I am joined by...
I'm Johnny.
And I'm Connor.
So, in our first mini episode, we wanted to go a little more in-depth on the Xbox Series X livestream gameplay reveal that happened earlier this week, because there was a lot that was announced that we didn't have enough time in a regular episode to go onto it. So, we're going to give our thoughts on this now, and then if you listen to the regular episode, it's more of a condensed version. So, let's first go off of what our thoughts were on the overall stream. For me, I would say it was a little misleading because Microsoft was saying it was a, quote, gameplay reveal, but there wasn't much gameplay shown. So so the one thing I'm interested to see is how some of these games will eventually look, because they're not the actual gameplay. It was trailers what it could look like, and so there's games that we saw that look a lot better in this trailer than they looked in than they will look when they come out on the Xbox. But what are you guys' thoughts on just the thing as a whole?
I mean, I was very impressed with, I would say, most of the trailers. But like you, I was like, where is the actual gameplay? These are all cinematic trailers. None of these games are going to look like this. Maybe they could. I don't know. But I think overall it was a lot to be excited about. But there were a couple ones where I'm just like, none of this is going to encourage anyone to actually buy an Xbox. None of these are going to be.
Yeah, well, it was kind of weird. Before we go into your opinions too, Johnny, it was just kind of weird because they said they weren't showing off anything big like a Xbox exclusive, but it just was weird that like the games that they're using to show off, hey, these are the first games we're seeing for the Xbox Series X and also for the PS5, and like there was only a couple of names that are in like series that people know, but yeah, what was your thoughts then, Johnny?
It definitely reminded me a little bit more like E3 with the way that everything was shown, but it seemed like a significantly like weaker E3 version for like Microsoft. And I know this, like I know this isn't what that was trying to be necessarily, or maybe it was, but it was disappointing, I think, just because it wasn't. I guess I don't really know personally what to expect from Microsoft with these kinds of things, but I was expecting something more, like you guys said.
Expect nothing. Did you ever expect? Microsoft has been so weird with their things. I mean, like we said, like this was a good example of it. Yeah,
I will say I talked to you guys about it earlier, but the best thing for me that came from this was that this Xbox presentation got me really excited about games for PlayStation. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, we're gonna get soon. We're gonna get stuff for Halo and Gears of War and all that. But yeah, it was just kind of an interesting thing. So in total, we had 13 games that were announced, and as of right now, we know for sure 10 of them are going to be multi-platform, so you can get them on PlayStation 5. Some will also be on Stadia, but all 13 games announced will be on the Xbox Series X and PC, with some of them also launching on Xbox One. And one of the big things they're also pushing was smart delivery. So it's one that if you buy it on one console, it'll be able to work on the others for the foreseeable future. So it'd even be one that what they wanted is when the eventual successor comes out, they would even have it so then one of these games that you'd get would be able to play it on whatever weird name they come out with the next Xbox. But let's dive into some of our thoughts on some of the games. The first game they revealed was Bright Memory Infinite, and so I thought it looked cool. That was definitely one of the ones I was more hesitant to see it on real hardware, actually because there is a game on Steam right now called Bright Memory that apparently is episodic, so I don't know if Infinite is the full game or if it's a sequel, what it is, but there is a Bright Memory game already on PC, and the graphics look nowhere near as good as it did in the trailer, because like the big thing they showed was all those weather effects of the rain and the wind,
yes,
while the main character was sliding around shooting and slicing with the sword. And like it still looks good from the little bit I watched, but like you always see this in these trailers that are coming out with like next gen games to show like, look at these effects. And so that was definitely one that I'm a little more hesitant on. You do drive what looks like a DeLorean in it though, so I am intrigued, especially that the mix of a first person shooter and Melee does look interesting, and it does look fluid like Titanfall and some of the more futuristic Call of Duties. And so I'm interested to see what does come with this, but yeah, I think that this will be one of those games that we could potentially look at and say, hey, this is why you don't always trust the debut trailer for a new console.
Exactly. Well, that's kind of what Xbox Series X is going for, is the power behind it and the graphics. It was a solid game to start off with, though, because I think some of the effects in that game are wicked. Like when you can stop people as you pull them forward, stop them and slash. The fluidity of the weapon movement, it was just very impressive.
Yeah, because that's one thing. Call of Duty has done a great job with it. And then as some of the developers of Call of Duty moved on to Respawn with Titanfall, those are like the pinnacle of like fluidity in a shooter, and you see a lot of games going after that, and this one does definitely look like it. Johnny, as someone who doesn't play much shooters, what were your thoughts then on the Bright Memory trailer to start off the gameplay reveal?
I was definitely really impressed. I've been telling you guys recently that I've been considering getting making my first purchase of a non-Nintendo console, and as this was the first game that they showed in the presentation, it definitely, I mean, I'm looking at it right now, and it to me it looks beautiful, and that's just like I said, because I'm used to Nintendo a lot, where Nintendo is not necessarily like high graphics wise, but I'm really impressed with all this, and like I like I like how the stormy aesthetic looks, and I love that the driving was really fun, and like Connor said, the being able to pull like yourself towards your enemies and then like cut them down or gun them down was really cool. I'm really impressed. I think that I'm probably the easiest of the three of us to impress with stuff like this, but it definitely, I might consider getting this game.
Yeah. So then the next game they showed off was Dirt 5. I'm someone who's never played a Dirt game, but I do enjoy racing games, and so this was cool to see. Like this is one of those, that we're getting some sort of racing game early on in the life cycle, because racing is such an easy seller. People will buy racing games all the time, and we don't have a Forza announcement yet for an Xbox Series X game. We know one's coming, but if it doesn't come at launch or within the first few months, Dirt 5 will be a nice game to scratch that driving sim itch before Forza, and then in the case of the PS5, Gran Turismo would come out. So, I mean, it looks like most of the racing games. It just looks like it's going to be very pretty with all of its particle effects and dirt and all that.
This is definitely one of the more forgettable trailers for me, I guess, as a non-racing game fan. I'm sure there's people who get really, really deep into racers, and so they can break down the trailer piece by piece, but I really can't. It looks like a racing game. It looks pretty. That's all I noticed.
Yeah, it does look pretty. That's really all you can really say on it. I mean, is there anything else you really think that can be added to it, Johnny?
I would say that for me, I mean, if I'm going to play a racing game, it's going to be a game with characters that I know, and I don't know much about this yet. I've never played a Dirt game, but yeah, this looks like a game that I might want to rent, but not necessarily buy.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's only if we see more amazing stuff in the trailer. Like, yeah, it looks amazing, but I don't necessarily want to play a game solely from how it looks.
Yeah, because I pulled up the Wikipedia page and it says gameplay. Dirt 5 is a racing game focused on off-road racing. Disciplines within the game include rallycross, ice racing, stadium trucks, and off-road buggies. Players can compete in events in a wide range of locations, including Arizona, Brazil, China, Italy, New York City, and Norway. And it has a dynamic weather system and all that, but it will have a narrative-focused career mode where the player races against a rival driver voiced by Nolan North, and the player has a mentor voiced by Troy Baker that'll provide them advice. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be another racing game that'll sell well, but it's not gonna be anything that everyone's just like, yes, give it to me. Dirt 4 came out and got scores in the 7.5, 9 out of 10. So like it's a generally favorable reviewed game usually, but it's pretty forgettable in the grand scheme of things. So then next off would be Scorn, which the first thing I was thinking about when I was watching this, I watched it live when I was at work before I went to lunch, and I was just like, what the hell am I watching here?
Yup.
You can definitely tell this game is something taking a lot of elements from different types of horror media, from movies and video games. One of the biggest ones I think you can really tell the inspiration is art design. Looks like something we'd see from H.R. Giger, who actually was behind some of the design for the special effects of Alien. And at one point I was thinking, is this like an Alien game? Because there were a lot of moments that seemed very alien-y. So who knows? This is one of the 3 games that so far is a Xbox console exclusive, so it isn't looking like it's going to be on PS5, but that it either could be coming to PS5 later, or it just hasn't been announced yet. But as of right now, this game you can only get on Xbox or if you buy it on PC. But what were your guys' thoughts then on this weird trailer?
It was, so I also thought it was going to be an Alien game, but then I watched it and we didn't see Ridley or anything like that. We didn't see any astronauts, and it just kept going, and it was so disgusting and shocking that my eyes were glued to the screen. Apparently, this game was announced like 6 years ago, but they've just been pulling it and just like delaying it even further because they want to keep tweaking it. And I guess they have been tweaking like the AI for the NPCs so that it's more of like it's less. I guess to make it harder, because if you shoot an NPC, like if you shoot one of these creatures that come at you, the other creatures will cast their judgment based on that act. So if you shoot them, or if you just walk past them, or if you escape them as opposed to any violent action, the rest of the creatures will react accordingly based on your decisions. And it's I think that's really, really cool. And there was, I think, 28 minutes of gameplay I found on YouTube for the demo, and it looks incredible. It looks so disgusting, but it's really interesting, and I think this might be something I'm actually going to shell out money for.
Yeah, so when they did announce it, they did say it is exclusive for the Series X, running in 4K at 60 FPS, and will not be released on the previous generation of consoles. So this won't even come out on the Xbox One, because they didn't want to do a version under the specifications and don't want it to be a bad experience. So, it'll also be on Steam and the Windows Store, but yeah, the gameplay is going to be mainly two-way weapons, a pistol or a shotgun. I haven't seen the gameplay yet, but just from the trailer and from what I've seen about it, this looks like it's kind of going to be similar to the Dark Souls game, just with guns instead of swords. Where it's going to be one that it's going to punish you if you do things the wrong way. But yeah, it's one that's I'm most likely getting a PS5. If I know anyone who has a Xbox Series X, maybe I'll have to go and definitely see how this is, or watch some gameplay on YouTube. But yeah, this game does look interesting, but we'll definitely see. So then moving on to Chorus. Visually, like I said, this might have been one of my favorite games we got to see with all the sci-fi space elements. The one thing I'm interested to see is just how the mechanics are going to work in the space combat, because that is something that can make or break this game. Like, it can look cool, but if it doesn't control well, then this is just going to be another forgettable game. So that's what I'm interested to see. Like I said, it does look cool. I'm interested in it, but it's more of a hesitant interesting.
I think this one is another one that didn't necessarily pique my interest, although the trailer was one of the cooler ones. I've just never been much of an aerial combat kind of gamer. That's just my opinion, though. But if one of my friends gets it and they're just raving about it all day long because it's just such a groundbreaking game, then I would probably pick it up at least temporarily.
Yeah, I definitely one thing that intrigues me the most is seeing or learning more about the story, and so I need to know more about some of these games' stories, like what the campaign or adventure is like before I commit to getting it, because I want to see where I'm gonna. So a lot of these it seems like I want to know more before I buy it, and this is like that.
That's just kind of an issue. Like, overall, we had this thing, since like there's only a couple games that are in series that were announced in this. And so it's a lot of new IPs, a lot of stuff we don't know about, and it's okay, cool, like this looks nice, but yeah, like we need to know more about these things if you're trying to get people to buy your console, and like people aren't going to buy a console just because Dirt 5 is coming to it or something like that. But yeah, I think that's definitely kind of an overarching theme with a lot of these games. The next game we got, though, was EA Sports Madden NFL 21, where Patrick Mahomes, the Muppet, went and talked to us about the new Madden. As someone who has played Madden for years and loves football, this looks like most other Madden games, besides the fact that it's going to have a little bit.
Good. I'm glad you said it, because I didn't know what to say.
It's gonna have some sort of effects to make it look sharper. It probably what it's going to be is the animations are going to be a little more realistic. The big thing they're pushing is the what you can feel thing in the trailer. Mahomes said it, and the trailer had like a little text box that said it. I don't know if that means they're going to be using some of the haptic feedback and the pressure triggers and all that on the controllers to like make you feel things more. I don't know, man. Madden's been kind of stagnant for the last few years because they only really focus on the Ultimate Team mode and get you to spend money. So it's Madden. Who cares? Though the one thing that we did get with this one that they announced that we're going to be seeing a lot of with some of these big games that come out on either yearly series or pretty consistent ones is if you buy the game on the Xbox One or the PS4, you'll be able to upgrade for free with it if you upgrade within a certain amount of time. I know that Call of Duty will most likely do the same thing. They did that when the PS4 and the Xbox One came out, where if you bought the you either got it was either free or it was only a few dollars to upgrade to a digital version. So it's one that we'll be seeing that a lot of. But I mean, it's Madden. Is there really anything else that you guys want to add besides the fact that it looks pretty and it's going to be football?
Nope.
They're gonna sports it out hard against their combatants, and goal units will be awarded.
Touchdown.
Yes. Yeah. Home runs,
Grand
right?
slam.
Right.
Exactly. So after we got the Mahomes in his Muppet voice, we then moved on to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, which this game's title is a mouthful, but I was one that was not fully interested in this one. I know that that there are a lot of people that were very happy to see because the original Vampire Masquerade, the Bloodlines game, came out in 2004, and so it's been 16 years and so now they're getting a sequel, and so I'm sure people are going to be very, very excited about that. But yeah, what was your guys' opinions on this? Like I said, I wasn't one that was super interested in this one, but what about you guys?
Johnny, do you want to go first?
Yeah, there's so much I don't know. I guess, like, I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but like there's so much I don't know about this. Like, I don't know, like, are the vampires you? Are you the bad guy? Like, what's, like, I don't know, like, what, I guess I just don't understand, like, the point of, like, I guess I don't know what the goal is of this game, you know?
Yeah,
It just
so
looks like
it's
there's a
going
lot
to
of
be
mayhem.
it's an action RPG that you'll mainly be in alternating between first and third person mode. But yeah, you pick the type of vampire you are, and then you just it's one of those that it's kind of a branching path type of thing. From what I understand from the little bit I've read, that you pick what type of vampire you are, and that'll come with different abilities. Like one, you can glide and you can summon bats. One, you can levitate objects. One, you can summon a mist to attack, to conceal yourself in small area and all that. So they're taking elements from other, like, different forms of vampire media, and so you'll be able to use different things to go through your story mode as a vampire. I mean, it looks like you're playing as a vampire it's gonna be like modern Seattle.
I've got like a paragraph here that I pulled from an article that describes it. So, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 takes place in 21st century Seattle during the Christmas season. Set in the world of darkness, the game depicts a world in which vampires, werewolves, demons, and other creatures shape human history. The vampires are bound by a code to maintain their secrecy, forbidding the use of vampiric abilities in front of humans, and avoid unnecessary killing to preserve the vampires' last shreds of humanity. The vampires are divided into various clans, as Luke was just describing, with distinctive traits and abilities. The Toriators are the closest to humanity, with a passion for culture. The Venture are noble, powerful leaders, and the Bruja are idealists who excel at fighting. The Malkavians are cursed with insanity or blessed with insight. And they're listing off a few more. The clans are loosely united by their opposition to the Sabbat, vampires who revel in their nature, embracing beast with.
So it sounds like Twilight without the sparkle.
Basically, like, and I wonder, I wonder if they all love baseball.
It looks like you're just a bad guy. Like, whoever you are, you're just and I think that's kind of cool. But I wonder, like, how much, like, maybe I'm alone in thinking this, but like I wonder, like, how much fun can it really be to, like, make this much mayhem? I don't know.
Yeah, well, it does look like you will get. It looks like it's gonna have a kind of a morality system. So it's ones that if you're doing vampiric abilities, like exposing like your powers in front of humans or stuff like that, that there will be like consequences either in the story or in your abilities. So it's gonna be one kind of like Infamous, which is a superhero game on PlayStation, where you can either be good or evil. So there's probably like ways that you can also be, quote, good in your eyes. But I don't know, man. This one, this was kind of boring to me. It's like, cool, like this vampire's dancing to Donkashin.
I thought the trailer was kind of creepy, but there's still so much we don't know. I think I watched like 5 minutes of gameplay, and it was just a lot. It was a lot of walking around.
I'm interested. I wanna see so much more about all these games before I commit to anything. But yeah, I'm definitely it's one of the ones that intrigued me the most, just because of how creepy it was.
Same here.
Yeah. Next would be Call of the Sea. This is another one of the exclusive to the Xbox family of consoles with no PlayStation release date as of yet. This was another game that kind of didn't really wow me. I personally just felt like it was in another art style and premise that just looked like another tired trope, like that art style of like kind of vibrant poppy cartoony but like still semi-realistic looking. It's like we've seen this all the time before. It'll look pretty, I'm sure, and like the whole like exploring like the South Pacific islands and all that, cool. Until we see more gameplay, this was probably one of my least favorites, honestly. Just because it like I feel like I've seen a trailer for a game like this on all of these random E3s and other press conferences. Like
I personally have the opposite reaction. This is the first one that really grabbed my attention, but it's probably obvious why. It's a little bit more cartoony, and it seemed like it had that. It to me, it seems like the perfect branch for somebody like me to go from Nintendo only to Xbox or PlayStation, because this is like somewhere in the middle where it's got realistic art, like you said, Luke, but also like the vibrant popping colors that just look like they're very like they grab you. And I don't know, it seemed like something that might be something that's good for me.
Connor?
I really liked the art style a lot. As far as like the actual gameplay or like if it's going to be fun or not, I don't know. But I thought the trailer was interesting enough. I don't know if I would shell out money for this game. However, I would be interested in maybe potentially renting it. Again, I'm not going to commit to anything, but I think based on the art style alone, it's got me curious enough to check in maybe when there's some like gameplay release.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see.
Then we moved on to another game that kind of felt like a tired trope, in my opinion, The Ascent. This was just another game that I just felt like cool. We're getting like it was another one that just didn't really wow me. Another thing where I felt like we have seen this before, and everything else. It's a co-op top-down RPG in a cyberpunk world. So like it's another one where it's like you show me this game, and I could have said, I don't know, it's some random. Like there wasn't as much about it that really set it apart. Maybe its story mode will be good, or maybe it'll have some nice mechanic. But I feel like this was just we kind of went into a lull, in my opinion, with it, because like while you guys may have like Call to See more, like we had Madden, which is Who Loves Football, boring. Vampire, I wasn't interested. Call to See, and then this, I just was like, okay, can we get to some better stuff now? Like at this point, I was like, why am I still watching this?
Yeah, I kind of agree with you with the Ascent. It seemed to me like you said, I've seen this game so many different times, and it's all of them I've never played. So this kind of game has never really interested me. At first, like at the very beginning, I thought it was like Gears of War, which is one of my favorite. It might surprise you, but it's one of my favorite game series on Xbox, or probably my favorite. I guess Left 4 Dead too, but Gears of War is one of my favorite series on Xbox, and like when I saw it wasn't that, like almost like right after, I was really disappointed, and I was kind of bored and not really interested in seeing anything more. And I've never really been too big into top-down games like this, and the aesthetic is old and overdone, so I don't know. I'm not here for it.
I have nothing else to add on top of that. I agree with you guys.
Yeah. We did have a good one next, though. The Medium was announced, and this game definitely looks like it's gonna be creepy AF. You can definitely tell this was one that they wanted to show the powers of the technology, because when they had the ultrasound to tease the story, when they zoomed in on the face, you saw the pores and all the liquid for the ultrasound. It's like, oh, look at them graphics. But this game looks like it is going to be creepy. It's it's a psychological horror game made by the Bloober team, who also worked on the Blair Witch video game Observer and Layers of Fear. And so what's cool about it too is that your protagonist, she is a medium caught between the real world and the spirit world. And the game said that there's going to be actually 2 different soundtracks for the game, depending on which world you're in. And one of the soundtracks is actually going to be composed by Akira Yamaoka, who has worked on the Silent Hill games. So you're going to get definitely some creepy vibes from that as well. So that I think that's definitely one of the coolest things, is that they got someone from like one of the more iconic horror game type of thing to come in and work with them on it. So this is definitely one that something like this is not my cup of tea, but it was one of the ones that I was definitely the most interested in, just based off of the premise and then the development behind it.
Yeah, for me as well. I'm definitely, like, I love horror, so this is like something that will definitely be like, I think this is probably the number one. This and Call of the Sea are like towards the top of what I'm the most interested in getting. So for all of these, I definitely want to know more, but this one is I know probably the most of what I want to know based on what they've shown here. So yeah,
this is tied for my number one. This and Scorn. This one is just it's gorgeous looking, and I love horror. I love the genre, and so unfortunately I only have one other horror game that I've ever played. It's The Evil Within, and so I'm definitely wanting to dive way deeper into horror games. I just love the experience.
You've played Luigi's Mansion before.
Yeah, and I still
it's like
can't
that
finish
level
it.
of scary, right? Like Luigi's Mansion.
Yes.
Yeah, just about maybe a step or two ahead. So yeah, this is something I'm gonna be buying.
Mm-hmm. The next game that was announced was Scarlet Nexus, which looked very anime-y. This was another game that I was not interested in, but this is one of those that I can see why people would be. The plant people in that game were weird. It was just weird seeing like a plant in a vase with female human legs just walking around.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Yeah, because you play as a psychokinetic warrior who can flee things around and fight the plant people. I mean, cool, looks interesting, but it's one of those that's like cool. I if you like it, awesome. I'm not buying it.
I think our friend,
the exact same thing I had. Like
our friend Corey has probably seen this anime before, so
yeah. I mean, I can see why people are gonna like this, but this was one of those where it's not like, okay, why? Who cares? This is one of those like, okay, I don't care, but someone will care, and good for them.
Yeah,
that's the exact same reaction I have. This is not something I'm going to do, but I can tell that this is going to probably get a lot of sales because there are people who really like the aesthetic and the idea of it. It's just never been my interest, my cup of tea. But I'll probably watch some gameplay on YouTube.
It definitely looks like it looks like a good game for people who are interested in that kind of thing. But yeah, I'm not one of those people, so.
And then we're almost to the end there. We did have Second Extinction, which was my personal favorite game that was announced of this. This one, it's a co-op game where you and 2 others will fight back against mutant dinosaurs that have taken over the Earth. And so
we're me and 2 others, so.
Hey, look at that. So if we all have the same system, we could play it together. And maybe all have cross-platform as well. But yeah, it's one that you can play and you fight to take back the globe from the alien or the mutant dinosaurs with lots of guns. This definitely interested me. The one thing that I'm a little hesitant on, though, is the developers who are working on this game also worked on a game that was released around this time last year called Generation Zero. It's almost the same plot where robots take over 1980s Sweden and you have to survive and fight back, and the game looked awesome. And then when it came out, a lot of the reviews that came out said that it was a good concept, but very underpolished, and I haven't looked too much into it since then. I do know they've done a lot of patches, so maybe it's better now. So hopefully the game can launch in a little bit better state than their previous one did, but definitely was one that I was interested in. I like the concept of a survival co-op game where, you can have you have dinosaurs.
Yeah, it definitely piqued my interest as well. You're just dropped into different areas of Earth. You have to kill dinosaurs with guns, and I guess there's going to be 3 styles of players. There's going to be the leader who is focused on kill streaks, obviously the bruiser who's just a big grunt and blah, smash, and then a third person that I think calls lasers down from the planes that they drop you in, more aerial assault, and it looks fun. If I get this game, then I'll be able to play with my friends, and we'll just fuck shit up.
There we go.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, this is like I want another co-op based game, like a survival game. Like you guys, like I talked about a moment ago, I love Left 4 Dead, and this kind of has that same. Like I mean, it's dinosaurs instead of zombies, but I love the fact that it's co-op and it's survival, and that's something that's really cool for me. So this is definitely higher up on my list as well.
Yeah,
like,
this does look like Left 4 Dead with mutant dinosaurs instead of zombies. And so, like, yeah, this looks like it. Like I said, out of all the games, this was definitely the one that I wanted to know the most about, and it was one that I wanted to know. I do know there is a PC beta sign up that is up already online. So even though my laptop can barely handle it, probably I might try to sign up, see if I can get in and test it out. But yeah, that was definitely I think that was one of the higher points. They started strong and they kind of had a lull in the middle, and then the last few games I think helped them end strong, because after that was the Yakuza Like a Dragon game. As someone who's never played the Yakuza series, this was more just cool for me to see that the series is coming to Xbox finally. This will be the first game that's on the Xbox One and the Xbox Series X. And so I do know that it is, I mean, it's one of the like 2 properties that Sega like acknowledges along with Sonic. Like they don't, and Puyo Puyo. They don't really like talk about any other, you don't see Crazy Taxi or Alex Kidd or Billy Hatcher Nights, any of these other franchises anymore. It's just Yakuza and Sonic. And so it's cool. Fun fact for you guys too, the creator of the Yakuza series is actually also the same guy who created Super Monkey Ball.
Fun.
I can see it.
The resemblance, yeah, it's totally
Yeah.
there. But yeah, so this one's is actually a spin-off of the Yakuza series, but yeah, it's gonna be starting up a new storyline since the series mainstays saga ended after Yakuza 6, and so it's supposed to be a launch title on Xbox Series X, and it's gonna support a cross save between the Xbox One and the Series X, along with that smart delivery that I mentioned. Cool. I mean, do you guys have any other opinions on it?
Not really for me, no.
I enjoyed the trailer, but it's not gonna be. I don't think I'm.
No, not either way. I'm more just happy that Xbox people can enjoy it, because I do know that, like I said, it is a pretty beloved Sega series. And then
it looks cool. I just it'll be something that'll be good to look into, but not really something I'm interested in buying myself.
Mm-hmm. And then they ended it off with showing some more gameplay for Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which was announced a couple weeks ago. It is the next Assassin's Creed, and it is going to be sent in the Viking times. And so, I mean, it looks like Assassin's Creed just in Vikings times to me. I'm not someone... Yep. I've never really been into the Assassin's Creed series, and I know my brother loves it. I have some friends who love it. So, yeah, it's basically going to be a alternate history version of the Vikings invading Britain in 873. So you're going to play as a Viking who has a conflict with the Templars. So there we go.
I've never I there was a time in my life like when I maybe 5 or 6 years ago when I knew nothing about Assassin's Creed, and I really wanted to start from the very beginning and play all of the games that were out at the time. I haven't really made any progress with that since then, but this might be the first game that I'm torn, because this looks like a really cool game, but I know that they come out with Assassin's Creeds every single year or every other year, so I know that if I buy this, I'm going to be more tempted to buy the next one that comes out, and the next one, and the next one. So it looks cool to me. It looks really cool to me, but I'm not sure that I want to
commit.
Deep dive into the entire series by buying this one game, So I'll definitely I can definitely see why people like Assassin's Creed games. I've just never owned them enough to appreciate what they have, but this game definitely is pushing me closer towards wanting to play them. So
I mean, you can play. There are a couple of them that are on the Switch, so you could try out the series. But yeah, this is the 12th major installment and the 22nd release. This was the first. This was the first Assassin's Creed not released, that was not released a year after the previous release ever. So it's because Assassin's Creed 1 came out in 2007, and then the spin-off on the DS, Altair Chronicles, came out, and then starting with 2009, a mainline game came out every single year until they did skip a year and had Assassin's Creed Chronicles India and Russia, which were sub-series spin-offs, but There's been an Assassin's Creed game every year except for 2019 since 2007.
Wow. That's I go back and forth on Assassin's Creed. All the trailers look so cool. And I actually did end up buying Black Flag, and I played a couple hours of it, and I was like, all right, it's okay. And then I put it down with every intention of picking it back up and finishing it. And for some reason, I never picked it up again, and I have not missed it.
Yeah, Black Flag.
Sure.
What's so funny is 3 and 4 are weird. It depends on who you ask for. It's kind of like Star Wars fans with Episode 7 and 8. People love or hate 3 and 4. Like there's people that think 3 is like the pinnacle of Assassin's Creed. It's never been better. Then there's people that think 4 is the pinnacle, and then they hate the other two. Like Assassin's Creed 4 is one of the most divisive ones in the series I think that there is. But I know it's pretty well beloved by a lot of people. So, but it was released on the Switch. So technically there was a Assassin's Creed last year. It just was a port of Assassin's Creed 4. But I think it was a strong way to end it off because Assassin's Creed is by far the biggest series that was in this. I mean, there was only like 2 series that are in this, but like Assassin's Creed's poll is bigger than all of the other games they announced combined. So showing some more off of Valhalla was a good idea, even if they probably could have showed more. But yeah, like I said, overall, I feel like we all kind of have the same ideas where it was a good start, but there was like 2 or 3 games that were like yes, and then there's a couple that are like, oh, I think I can see this, but then most of it was just like forgettable. So this was a pretty forgettable press conference in my eyes. It was nice to see gameplay, but yeah, I'm still left with a lot of questions about the Series X that I had before this.
Exactly. Yeah. That's all it's done is just I have more questions now, which still is piquing my curiosity for the next one when they actually reveal more for these games. It's a good way of at least it's a good attention grabber, but I mean it's also kind of clickbaity
for sure. But Johnny, what about you?
Yeah, I think it was great. I liked, I liked the horror games. I liked the Second Extinction. I liked the Medium. I was interested in Valhalla. So yeah, there were quite a few games that were interesting to me. Some of them was, a little bit, some were better than others, but yeah, I think overall it was an okay showcase. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, that'll wrap up then our first Rocket Talk mini episode. Be sure to tune into the full episode 14 so you can hear more topics, including Nintendo's updated sales charts, Space Force trailer, and our topic of the week on favorite video games. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe, follow us on our different podcasts, and start following our Twitch page as I've been streaming more recently. But yeah, be sure to tune into episode 14 as well. We'll see you guys next time.